specialist group Parliaments and Legislatures about January, February last year. This was a group that had been led by the founder of the group, who did an excellent job, but as we all do, we all become very busy, and actually it becomes very difficult to do something on your own, really. And in the end, she gave up, so we took over. And we were very keen right from the beginning that we would do it more as a team to make it possible, because as we all know, conveners, it takes a lot of time, and we're hoping to expand that for the group, for the members. So just a little bit about what we've done, what different things we've addressed, and sort of some of the plans we have. So in terms of membership, we've talked a lot about membership. For us, it was a nightmare at the beginning to actually get a sense of our membership, getting a list, tidying up the list, getting rid of old addresses that don't work, and all of those things. So if you can automate that, it would be really, really appreciated. But we obviously, if we don't have a membership, then we don't have an activity, we're not talking to anyone. So it was very much one of the first things we wanted to do. And because one of the key stories there was about reinvigorating the group, we thought we'll use that. We're here, we're new, and we're using that until recently. I think we'll have to stop using that idea now, have to do something else. So but you can see from, as we took over, we had 73 members, and now we have 167. So sort of quite large expansion in there. A lot of that through a lot of you, and we're really, really thankful, because we emailed a lot of you as conveners of the groups who we thought would have an interest in our group. But also by emailing practitioners groups that we have. So as a consequence, we have lots of practitioners in our group, which actually we see it as a great advantage in terms of the work that our members, academics, can do, in terms of the activities we can do, but also in terms of the impact that our specialist group can have, or the research that we develop. So we contact lots of other, through the other specialist groups, through other groups, like Study of Parliament group, another group that's for practitioners, but also internationally. So any international groups, if you're a member of any international group that works on Parliament, you very likely would have received an email from us. That's how we did it, really. We use the PSA newsletter and communication tools quite a bit also, so trying to disseminate, there's new conveners, we're looking for members, a lot of activity, all of those things. We use social media quite a bit also, so through Twitter, trying to publicise. There's a new group here, not a new group, but trying to expand and do new things. And little by little, we've expanded our membership, and also it's not just expanded, also it's become more of an active group. We feel we have more interaction with our members, and they respond much more to us than they would say at the beginning. So one of the first things we did is about communication. So we don't have the problem that first the Greek group has of having a website. We have no website. We have nothing. So we had the other problem, which was to actually set up something so that we had some visibility. And obviously, we only started targeting members after doing this, because so that we had people, we could show something to everyone. And we thought we're trying to make the website as useful for academics studying Parliament or studying things related to Parliament. So their specialism might not be Parliament, might be voting behaviour, might be party politics, might be British politics, might be other things, but to make it useful for those people. So we have, for instance, we set up a blog which we're trying to develop, and as part of that, one of the things we've created was the overviews of parliaments. Being myself from Portugal and France, from other places, I always hear strange things about foreign parliaments, and I'm very aware there's actually not a lot of information out there. So one of the things that our blog does is just have small profiles, overviews done by our members about different parliaments, and that is something that members have found useful. It's built up slowly, so there's not a lot in there, but there's a few. And then resources again, we're trying to make links to what are useful links for research on Parliament, but also disseminate our members' own research, but also not just for research, also in terms of teaching. If you're teaching Parliament, trying to signpost some resources that will be useful for those academics. But again, for practitioners, trying to show where the research on Parliament is and where they can go in there. Very basic things, like this is a link to the Hansard Society that publishes lots of research on Parliament. So that sort of thing. We've all got the other sort of thing, with events and all of that. We're debating a lot on what do we do. Do we create a list? And I'm sure you all have different practices. We create a list, and anyone can send something to the list. We're doing a newsletter. For now, we're doing an e-newsletter every 3 weeks, more or less, unless there's a reason why there's a deadline and we need to send something out. And that has allowed us to sort of target specific piece of information to the members. And I know that our members, I know some of you here are members, so you might say, no, we don't like that. But the feedback that we've had is that they do like it. And we're trying to include things also, what's happening in Parliament, so if there's any select committee that reports or inquiries going on that would be interest for our membership. Some of that actually we just use from the PSA news, that they've started including that also. So that's the balance we've got at the moment. We would love the website to be able to do this newsletter through the website. So we don't have, because when we add the member might be on the website, might not be on in our spreadsheets, and it would be much easier if it was all streamlined. Funding, we're trying to utilise, we didn't have very much, but some of the funding that we did have in there, try to utilise that. And also, we applied for the midterm funding review. I don't know if that's the name of it, but the one that happened last year. But also partnering up with others. As we'll see now, Louise will show, we've done some quite big events, one in Parliament Week, which we did with the PSA, and other events we've done with other universities or other organisations. So it's trying to partner up with other organisations, so it's not all about ourselves. One thing is that it's not all about our time, but also we get much more funding that way, but also we get much more dissemination, much more impact in terms of what we do. I think that's me.
Okay, I get the fun bit, which is about to talk about our events. Back at the start in February, when we took over, we had loads of ideas about what we wanted to do, and I think actually at the end of the year what we've ended up with was probably bigger than we anticipated back in February. But our main two events this year have been the launch or relaunch of our group and our event for Parliament Week. If I start with the relaunch, they're back to front really, but it makes more sense. We held a relaunch of the group in the Palace of Westminster a couple of weeks ago, where we invited all our members, the academics and the practitioners, so the two main groups of our membership. We had a guest speaker, who was Angela Beagle. She had to leave the house to come and give a speech, which was really good because she talked about all the benefits to academics, talking about research in Parliament and things. It was really good, and it gave all a chance for all our new members to, for us to meet them, for them all to meet each other. And we had members coming from Cardiff, from I think even further away.
Czech Republic.
Miles away, to come to our relaunch event. So that was really, really useful for us just to start things off again. The second event, and the biggest one, and kind of the one which demonstrates our strategy for working as a group really, is our Parliament Week event, which was originally a small event but became a much bigger event, which was about engaging young people with Parliament and politics, and it was a two-stage process really. So we worked with the PSA and James in particular, who was probably fed up with us by the end of the event, and with a group of our members and their universities.
Some of them here.
Yeah, some of them here. First of all, we ran a series of workshops around the UK, each run by one member of our group at their institution, and run with sixth forms or colleges, and they got young people together to talk about ways in which you could engage more with Parliament using digital, through digital means really, so things like your mobile phones and Twitter and things. And then at each of these workshops, one group was, or the idea from one group was voted as a winner, and they went through to a main event in Parliament during Parliament Week. And all these groups, the winning groups from around the UK, presented their ideas at a big event with a big expert panel of digital democracy experts. And then we had a big discussion with lots of other invited sixth formers, and a vote at the end for the winning idea.
Which was Mark's group.
Which was Mark's group here. You ran the first workshop and had the winning group. There. And so it was a really, really good event. It got there was lots of discussion on Twitter about it, and it was really well attended, and I think got some really good feedback afterwards. So those are the two key events for us. In terms of future events, we have lots of things lined up. Some of them on here are probably familiar to most groups, so we are planning on, at the PSA conference, having 3 specialist group panels. We are planning to run an essay competition for undergraduate students writing essays on with a theme on Parliament, which will hopefully be an annual competition. We are planning at the PSA conference to have a sponsored reception, a sponsored panel and reception with Taylor and Francis. And the last one, which is probably different to what other groups are doing, is that we are working with, I don't know actually name, a data project at Parliament to get the members of our specialist group together with Parliament to talk about how they can make all the data that they have, how they can put it in a better format for academics to use, which will hopefully save us a lot of work, but also be a benefit to them, and we can feed into them how we want things to be presented. And so the final bit is about our strategy, which we've kind of mentioned a lot already. The first one is, the first two go together really, is about working as a team. Our group originally, I think, only had one convener, and there weren't any other officers. There are obviously two of us now running the group. I think it's fair to say we work pretty well together. I've got to say that because she's here, but we actually do. We work pretty well as a team, and we divide all the things up, so actually it's not as much of a burden as it would otherwise have been. I think we took over the group at a time that was really busy for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Totally at the wrong
Well,
time.
we was about to have a baby. We had a baby between sort of sitting at her.
And we've worked really well together. We're dividing up the tasks, and we're planning on recruiting more officers, so we want to get a treasurer and a communications officer to help us in this. And we are at different universities. We have regular, quick sort of Skype calls to sort things out. We work using Dropbox folders so we can do things whenever we want, and really quickly and easily show each other what we've been doing and check on things. We work, or have been working very closely with the PSA, and that's something that I think has been really valuable for our group, and we've been able to do a lot more. Our Parliament Week event would never have been as big as it was. Firstly, it wasn't for the engagement with all our members, but also with James and the PSA really helping us with that. And the last one is forging partnerships, both I guess with our existing members, with people who may be potential members, and with other groups. So for us it's things like, I guess, the Study of Parliament group, and the outreach service in Parliament. So identifying other bodies and other groups that we can really work with. That's it.
Well done.
Anyone knows which Parliament that is?
So.
No? It's the Italian Chamber of Deputies.